Yes,
Oh, she's back. Your girls are back.
I am shocked by
Happy New Year, everyone.
that. Didn't feel very enthusiastic. I mean, your part. I thought you was gonna be so excited, y'all. Shanti texted me and said how much she missed me, and now she acting like I'm not feeling it. Is it because you saw me and I've been getting on your nerves
A
because
little
we've been
bit.
working?
A little bit.
That's a
Hey,
shame. How quickly it wears off. Hmm.
everything is temporary, child.
Wow.
How's everything going, Antoinette? I'm gonna kick this year off. You go first, my friend.
Oh, I don't want to go first.
Aw.
Okay. This year, first of all, hello everyone. Happy New Year. We are back. Thank you so much for sticking with the kids, honoring our break, and put that in quotations, our break from recording. It was definitely a break from recording. We did do one Patreon shindig. But thank you all. A lot of folks were very happy to see us somewhat resting and enjoying ourselves for some time. And the folks who weren't our community, check them. So shout out to you all. You are loved. You are appreciated. On this time away from recording, I actually booked a trip. Mandy and I went away to Mexico, and we just had ourselves a grand time. I'm actually going to be on by the time this comes out Monday. So I'll be on See the Thing Is next on Tuesday. So this comes out Monday. That Tuesday I'll be on, that episode will be out. And I'm going to talk more about traveling with Mandy, but boy was it a joy. And it's our first time traveling together. So you know that you're a little bit nervous, and it's funny, we're both type A. So she was nervous as well, and she kept saying like, "Is this working? Are we traveling well together?" And I was like, "I think so." Her sister was with us, who was just a delight. But there's something about Mandy, and again, I'm gonna say it on See the Thing Is, but there's something about her that unlocks something in me. And it's not that she's doing anything specific. I think it's just her way of being. Gives me permission to just be more of myself in a way that is really refreshing, and I'm really grateful to her for. So it was a great trip. We had such a good time.
You look good. I don't know what y'all was doing, but you look good while you was doing it.
Well, we were just, it was wholesome. We really weren't doing much. I mean, we were just doing the regular vacation stuff. We snorkeled. We went and we saw sea turtles. We went into the, what is it? It's not a cave. What's it called, child?
Coral reef?
No, it's the cave thing that they have in Mexico. The cenote. We went in the cenotes with all the water with magnesium in it. It's very interesting. It's all very interesting. We walked the strip. I mean, it was just a good time. We had more laughs. It was funny. We rolled with the punches. The first 2 days, everything that could go wrong did, and we just were cracking up laughing, like hollering and screaming. We went to one restaurant that's a very good, great restaurant, and we literally were there for like 3.5 hours because there were so many issues with our food, the table, the this, the that, and we just were literally tears coming down our eyes, holding our stomachs, laughing at the table. And so that's just how you know you can travel with someone. So I just love her, and I'm so grateful for that trip, and I hope to go on many more with her. That was a trip where you did say that you missed me, though. I just want to remind you, in case you forgot.
I really did miss you. But we can talk about this next episode. You gotta let the person miss you.
I know. And I did. I left you alone when I was away, and you were away for the most part. I left you alone. I didn't ask you about work.
You were texting, FaceTime me like, you getting ice cream right now? You did not leave me alone.
I didn't? Oh, man,
when
I
you
thought
went
I
away,
did.
you definitely.
I'm sorry.
It's
I
okay.
thought I
I ignored
did.
you and I was like, all right.
You did. You just ignored me a lot. So you're training me. No, there were many FaceTimes you did not answer. I was also concerned because you were traveling alone. And we'll get into that. But I didn't know that you weren't alone. So I had assumed that you were by yourself. Anyway, I'm actively looking for a new therapist.
Oh my God, come on, 2024. The content we about to get now is going to be chef's kiss.
I can't wait. I'm actually very excited about it.
Why? Or
I think it's time. I think that I'm more aware of my stuff, and now I want more tools to manage my stuff. Like I need to talk to a therapist about why I won't leave you alone. Why can't I let that girl miss me? What is it? Why? Like little things like that. It's like I want to understand myself better. And during the break I did a lot of listening back to like clips or listening back to Can't Afford Therapy, and I was seeing myself more. It's different when you hear yourself say things or you hear yourself not hear something correctly. And so I'm just like, oh, that's my stuff being put onto this person, or I didn't really listen to her. Oh, I'm talking over this person a bit. Why do I talk over Shanti more than I do these guys? Is it because I'm close with her and we just have like a more like familiar and informal relationship? But these are things that I want to understand more about myself, and I need to manage. I think I need to manage all that's happened over the years. A lot has happened. You said that to me, and you said, this year was a really hard year for you, and you need to like take a second. And I read that. You text me that, I think, or maybe you said it. I can't remember, but I remember not understanding what you were talking about until I was able to stop. Like I logged out of Teams. I logged out of email. I didn't look at anything. And when I was able to stop and really reflect on the year and like, write some things down, it was a hard year. It was a lot that happened. And there's no way that that's not affecting me in some kind of way. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
Me too.
I don't even know what this other thing means. I wrote defining what it means to live a full life in alignment with my most authentic and spiritually sound self.
What the fuck does that mean? Defining to live a full life in alignment with my most authentic?
First of all, it says authentic. Don't try to play me.
I'm saying it's such a authentic. It's just like, what? Spiritually sound? What the fuck does that mean?
I think it's, I know what it is. And I can save that for the next episode. I know what it is. Okay, never mind.
It sounds good to me. It sounds juicy to me.
I'll save it for Thursday. But I'm
I was high when I wrote that, child.
No, I was in my feelings. I've been very in my feelings. And I was really grateful during the trip with Mandy. She was showing me all the messages she was getting from people saying, I'm so happy that you've got Antoinette outside. I'm so happy she's treating herself. Mandy, this is so great. Like, and again, another thing that she helps me unlock. And yeah, I'm starting to treat myself. I'm my new thing is perfume.
Which and you were exciting me about too, because I'm like,
that made my day. So when you were in here excited about this perfume, I was like, oh my gosh, we have a new thing. I am someone who struggles with perfume because it gives me a headache, most of them. Like I have a strong reaction to scent. Like I couldn't even walk through those counters as a kid without getting a terrible headache. So I've really tried to find perfumes that don't bother me, and I think I'm doing well. I'm not going to say which ones I got, but you like some of them. Jolie was on the fence, and I love that for her. Jolie came here and we did a perfume test, and she wasn't too excited about any of them besides my tried and true main perfume. And I will say their name because they changed their ingredients and now it stinks. For all the girlies out there that were wearing the Glacier, I think. Glacier U. I need a dupe for that. They've changed their formula. Apparently everybody on TikTok is talking about it. No one can find anything that smells like it. They said something from Zara smelled like it, and
Zara got
it's sold out. Apparently Zara does a whole lot of like dupe perfumes and just calls it something else and puts it out for cheaper. Right.
And brilliant.
But now I own Baccarat now, and I ain't bought it. Shout out to Jasmine for that Christmas present. That was so kind of her. I said I wasn't going to say it, but I'm saying it. I have, what is the other one that you really like?
The Valentino.
The Valentino, but what's the type?
That's a good question.
Everybody knows it. It's like the signature one.
I like it though.
It's nice. It's nice to have, but I don't want a bunch of them. I really just want to find my everyday scent.
Yeah.
And to me, it's Glacier. To me, it was that scent.
It smells like you. It does.
It does.
It's so. First of all, I've always associated perfume with old women and just like this one tone, intense, like old lady. You know, like my young child mind. I still
like
have
White
that
Diamonds,
same.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah, like this really like. But it's a whole world, child. It's like wine tasting.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to go visit a male friend, not like that, but a male friend, he was sharing all the different
notes,
perfumes that he has, and it blew my mind. There were some that were savory, like it was straight pepper, greens, herbs, and then there was berries, and then it was like spice and what's the word everybody keeps saying? It's with a B.
What?
D or a B. Anyway, and I was like, this is amazing. But I'm definitely a bergamot. I'm definitely a bergamot
same
person. I like the spice. I like the
That's why you like that Valentino.
I love the Valentino.
Yeah.
And then I stole his Tom Ford, which is really delicious.
Tom
I want to
Ford
try
cherry.
Yeah, Lost Cherry, which was like but they're so expensive that I'd rather buy sneakers than
I'll give him that. That's it. Those are my updates.
I took a trip as well. I went to Savannah, Georgia, and I didn't stay very long. I didn't have much time because I had to break down the Christmas village and then be back for Jolie's return from the holidays. So I didn't have much time to really explore. So it was only maybe 2 days there, but it was my first time going. I had just watched The Color Purple, which we'll get into, and The Color Purple is set in Georgia. But I remember, I think it was you. I was like, I gotta see those trees. I want to see the trees with the God damn it. Trees with the moss. There's a specific name of tree, but they were everywhere. It was picturesque, spotlessly clean, like not trash anywhere. Old, beautiful, French, Spanish buildings and homes. You can it's dense energetically, and it's really weird there. It's like
that's what I was going to say. What kind of energy?
In Savannah, respectively, and like all the little historic areas, it feels like every home is vacant for some reason. Like it doesn't feel like anybody lives there. Like people don't live there, but it feels haunted. It feels dense. It feels like, but there's people everywhere in a way, but like it's a lot of tourists, but the actual like inhabitants of these really old, gorgeous buildings, I'm like, does anybody live here? And it's so wealthy, the people that can afford to live there, it still feels like this untouchable, you're not going to see them kind of energy. It was interesting, really gorgeous. I went to Mrs. Wilkes' soul food place, which is like this famous soul food place. Apparently, some white woman bought a Southern white woman. They different. Southern white people are different, and I like them. I really,
Tricky.
I know they've really. I like their warmth. There's something warm, even though they probably racist as hell. I like them. Anyway, this older white woman bought a boarding house where you could go and spend the night and then you get supper. And apparently she was a cook. I don't believe it. I definitely believe that she bought that boarding place and all of the service people that were in it, she inherited. And them motherfuckers could cook their asses off. She kept the recipes.
I was busting.
So what happens is, first of all, the line is around the corner. There's probably like 100 and 150 people in line waiting, and there's 2 rooms, each with a total of like 4 to 6 tables of 10. And you come in like 40, 60 people, and you go sit down. And so you're sat with strangers basically, and you're all at this dining room table. Right when you walk in, it's a complete spread: fried chicken, mashed potatoes, string beans, collard greens, macaroni and cheese, everything you could want is already at the table waiting for you, and you just sit down and pass the food around until everybody's gullet is full.
I love that it's with other people at the same table.
It was very interesting.
You can have community and get to know folks.
It was very, very. That's where we were the only Black people at the entire table.
Ooh!
And
wow!
Really? It's a story for another day. Yeah. There were other Black people there, but just where we were sat, we were the only Black people there.
Did you research that, or did you just stumble across it?
No,
I'm so sorry. Let me close my window. Apologies, y'all. Monty, can you take this out?
I close my drawers, y'all. God damn it. Act like I had the windows closed. I'm training a child.
Girl, the window is closed. You can hear that? You can hear that? The window was closed, child. That's how loud it was.
Anyway. Antoinette got that hot ass project heat, Shanti, so all your windows should be open. I advise you to open. I
had them open. Why do you think I'm sitting here with no clothes on?
I didn't notice. I said
hot.
She got a bra.
The humidifier is humidifying and about to run out of water. I didn't filled it up about 4 times. It's so hot in here. I think that's partly why I'm sick, because it's just such dry heat, sucking the moisture out of everything. Anyway,
no, I didn't. That was I was just tagging along with homeboy. It was like, and he waited in line for an hour. And I was like, all right, I'm not doing that. I refuse to do it. I'm gonna walk around. Call me when.
Oh, he waited a line for an hour for this food.
An hour to go to this place.
Yeah, an hour. Yeah. Mm.
But it was worth it. I will say it was worth it. Everybody should. Mrs. Wilkes, I wish it was me, you, and Amanda. That's what I remember sitting there being like, damn, I wish we could just be looking at each other like, did you try this? Oh my God. It was good. It was
my
really
eating
good.
buddies.
And then we have to talk about this. I told you to watch it. I have really found my genre of, I was just trying to chill, kick back, and I found my genre, and it's definitely cult reality documentaries and Mother God and God, Greed, and the Cult of Gwen Shamblin? First of all, they're master classes of branding and marketing. That's the first thing. These women are up there with Steve Jobs in their ability. But that's the thing that blew my mind is like, yes, they were unwell, but they were so focused and so clear about their archetype, their mission, their story, their branding, that they attracted their tribe or their customer, and they were hand over fist just giving them money, loyalty, community. It was just the power of delusion is scary to me, because I was like, I think each of us are a little bit crazy, and each of us have a samplings of those women. They were just like super, super undiluted, like pure form insanity. But I was like, oh, I can see myself. I see we all got a little bit of like complete insanity and delusion, the things that we believe, the things that we ignore, the ways that we tell ourselves one thing, even though it's completely and obviously the complete opposite.
Are you talking about being in the cult or
Both.
being the cult leader?
Both. Because, they're showing the story of the cult leader and the people that are being in the cult. The people leading, the followers of the cult, seeing clearly that, oh, this person is saying this one thing, but they're doing another thing that she told us not to do, but we're going to continue to enable her. And there's like, it's crazy. It's that you have to watch these shows. I'd be so curious to know what you
the last person that I was like dealing with on an intimate level, I remember saying to them, you can have a cult. If you wanted to have a cult, you could have a cult. And I remember them looking at me and smiling and saying, oh, I know. And I just thought, oh, I have to get the hell away from you.
What was this?
I'll tell you later. But I just remember thinking like, wow. So you know that you have this power. Do you use your powers for good? Interesting. I don't always know.
Do any of us, dog?
Do any of us?
Do we really? The power, the allure, the way that we can convince people,
cult?
manipulate.
Is Around the Way Curls a cult?
I don't know. We got to watch it. But there's power in delusion. There's magic in delusion. Listen.
What was Martin's cult? Remember when he came back?
Martin had
what was the girl? You don't remember on the show when he left and came back to the cult and he had them twists in his hair and he was wearing that?
I don't remember that.
Yes, you do. Go Google. Everybody, stop what you're doing right now and Google Martin cult. And Gina had to go get him. You just saw. What was the name of the cult though? Oh man. It was a funny name. Damn.
Smith cult?
Somebody's yelling it out right now.
Smith cult. Oh no.
No,
the cult
it was
family.
like
head of the cult family. That's the name. I don't know, child.
When fan trivia, when Martin ran away and joined a cult, what did he change his name to? Brother Shaquille Sunflower.
Oh my God.
Why? What was the name of the cult? Oh, I don't remember. But he kept saying this funny thing in it. Now I gotta watch it with you.
I have to see that.
Oh, anyway, that's an aside. Anyway, I could talk about that for hours.
You need to watch this. And the fact that these are women that are leading it, these cults, and the ways in which they, especially God, greed, and the cult of Gwen Shamblin, she promised people that they could lose weight through their relationship with God. And so she had throngs of women coming to her and some losing weight, but also losing their complete minds. And this woman, Gwen, Antoinette, look her up. The crazier she got, the crazier she got, the crazier her hair got. I don't know how they looked at Gwen. Hold up, it's almost a skit.
Google it. Should I Google it, or will it mess up the?
Oh no,
the actual show for me?
There's no like.
What's her name? Stop, because I
look at Gwen. Gwen Shamblin. Gwen Shamblin. Right when you see this bitch, you gotta be kidding me, dog.
Wow.
Gwen crazy. Look at her in the upper. Gwen.
Oh my God! How did she get her hair to sit up that high? I kind of love it.
Gwen is iconic for real. They were crazy, bro.
Starving for salvation.
Yes, it's deep. It's really deep, and
that's on HBO.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's really good. And so is, I think, Mother
We
God.
are 30 minutes in, enough.
That's all I got to say. We got to do a whole episode on it. People are
All
gonna be
right,
like,
do it. I'm
yes,
down. I gotta watch it.
yes.
Y'all, we have not recorded, so you have to forgive us. The the pleasantries was a little long, but here we are. We do want to say that we did do some work over this break. We had an amazing photo shoot for something very amazing that we have coming up. Cannot wait to show you all that. But we want to shout out all of the creatives that we worked with. It was not lost on me that I looked around the room and was like, everybody in this space is Black and brown. And I don't have many spaces like that in my life. And so I do not take that for granted. So I want to shout out Brittany Whitfield, who did our wonderful faces, beat our faces for the gods. She is a celebrity makeup artist who was kind enough to do our makeup, touch our faces. She also is the co-owner of WTF Dumbo Studio here in Brooklyn. It is a amazing studio space.
Yeah.
Gorgeous light. I mean, she has so much equipment in there, all for the creatives. It's completely reasonably priced, great location. So if you are looking for a studio space, check out WTF Dumbo Studio. Her handle is Britty, BrittyWhitfield on Instagrams, and the studio is WTF Dumbo Studio on Instagram. We also had the pleasure of working with a young, up and coming, brilliant, beautiful, kind human being that is Nigel, who is a wonderful photographer. Just sees us the way we see ourselves, shoots us in ways that are very flattering, and also gives us a lot of guidance and is open to explore on a shoot and really just makes you feel comfortable. That's the main thing. And that's how you get
the best thing to have in a photographer.
That's
and
it.
His skill, his technique, his use of lighting is just really top notch. And he has an amazing story and work ethic. So
yes,
he's hungry and he's hardworking and he's reliable. And he did so much research before he even sat down with us. So like, really, really great. Shout out
so
to
his
Nigel.
handle, if you're looking for a very reasonably priced, talented photographer, is or at the @ LORDNC on Instagram. And then we also had an amazing videographer who caught BTS for us, and she films a couple of other things that you will see soon. Her name is TJ. She is actually a part of Mandy's team. Mandy lent her out to us, but Mandy does not. She doesn't hoard her creatives like some people. That was a little bit of shade, but it is what it is. And TJ's just wonderful. The turnaround time is quick. What you have is like wonderful, and she's like another person who just loves to create, loves to collaborate, easy to work with, great energy on set, completely professional. So if you're looking for a videographer, her handle is at TMCGENERATIONS, TMC Generations. And then lastly, friend of the pod, Miss Nana. She came and styled us up. She got us together, child. We look cute. I was like, we look cute. I felt great. I just love the way she puts things together with our existing wardrobes. And that is actually that's a service that she offers people to come to you and help style you based off of what you already have, and then just give you some insight into like staple pieces that you probably need. I had like a leather skirt on that was way too long for her liking, and so on the set she took it up, fixed it up for me, got me together, like just a wonderful human being, super talented, super stylish, very supportive.
She was great. Loved it.
Yeah, she's just great. Her handle is @_in_bloom ___. And all of these people will be tagged in our description. Okay. Shout out to them.
So we're at this place. It's a new year, but we still asking for y'all to show up and show up for us. So please consider rating, subscribing, sharing our podcast on your platforms. Tell your friends, word of mouth, social media. All of it is greatly appreciated and helps spread the good word about Around the Way Curls. We also remind you that we have a Patreon. This month, we are going to be doing a kickback date, which is exclusive content just for our patrons on Sunday, January 28th. So
at 7 p.m.
Make sure to join our Patreon so that you can partake and kiki and hear about even more New Year's things and share your own.
Can I say something real fast about that? Mm-hmm. We're actually going to try a different format. I'm going to keep saying Mandy's damn name, but Mandy has offered some suggestions around how they manage their Patreon. They call them town halls. We call them kickbacks. And she actually has an open forum on Zoom where like everybody's able to chat. And we really want to make sure that our Around the Way Curls community can also connect with one another, not just us. And the other format is great where like one person can come up to the quote unquote stage and chat with us, but we also want to open it up. So we're going to try it. It's going to be some trial and error here. We can't talk over each other, but she said it's always really successful and See the Thing Is and Horrible Decisions. So I think it would be a great time. So we're going to try that out. And I'm really excited about that new kind of formatting.
So if you want to participate in this new experiment, please consider joining our Patreon. Shout out to all the new patrons. It's a long list, being as though we were away. Very, very grateful to all of you. Big C, Deese, Devon, Mixie Girl, Sydney, Cassandra, Faith, Joseph, B. Nicole, Delana, Jonna, Tatiana, Samad, Jade, Lillian, Kalua, Ombre, Takia, Destiny, Rhonda, Courtney, and Adriana. I feel like a high school teacher.
Shout out to y'all. Y'all know who y'all are. Let's take a break, pay some bills. Shanti, do you want to sing in the new year? I would love that.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Boop. Okay. 33.
That's great.
Do I sound like really stuffy and nasty?
You're just not nasty, but you sound
stuffy.
Congested.
All right. Well, here we are.
When is this? Is this going to come out in time?
It's the day after.
Is that worth talking about?
No, we don't have to. Take it off. Do you want me to tackle this one?
Sure.
All right. And we are back. So we are very excited to say that this new year is really starting off with a bang for us. We are having a live event here in Brooklyn in Prospect Park at Babel Loft. And for those of you that don't know, Babel Loft is the child of Ode to Babel. Shanti knows Ode to Babel. I know Ode to Babel. I've had many a good time at Ode to Babel back in the
epic,
day.
life-changing
30th birthday at Ode. Ode has now transitioned into a members-only social club. I think it was directly resulting gentrification. I know it. But this is the first Black woman-owned members-only social club in Prospect Heights. Just fire. And what is Babel Loft, you ask? It is a visionary space that transcends norms. Babel Loft is a fusion of Babel Loft is a fusion of social hub and is that written right? Monty, take us somehow. Babble Loft is a fusion of social hub and tasting room. Is that? Yeah? Okay, ready? What is Babel Loft, you ask? It's a visionary space that transcends norms. Babel Loft is a fusion of social hub and tasting room, redefining membership spaces by fostering creativity, collaboration, and cultural diversity. It stands as the vanguard of Brooklyn, a nurturing environment for community and innovation. I love that. Shout out to them.
That's a very good.
That's so good. I need to ask who wrote that and be like, can you help us
really good.
come up with what the hell we do? But not unfortunately, this is a great problem to have. We announced this on social media and all of the space is already filled up. So if you're hearing this now, we will work to do more. We will be in conversation with friend of the pod and our dear friend, Joelle Leon. This event is titled Liberation in Troubled Times, Getting Free with Around the Way Curls and Joelle Leon, an enlightening discussion on liberation amidst global conflict, wars, and upheavals. I think it's a really important conversation to have. We have three very different perspectives on how to approach just all the things going on in the world, how to manage them, how to navigate them, both outwardly as a brand, as a human being, and like inwardly, emotionally. And so I think the conversation will be very rich. Doors open at 5 p.m. and the conversation is from 6 to 8. For our patrons, we will have video of this for you. It will be on Patreon. So shout out to you. You made that happen. That's how we can pay for it. And then, there was something else I wanted to say. Oh, and this event, shout out to Babble Loft. It was free. I know this is a members only social club, but it was free admission for our Around the Way Curls listeners. So very dope of them.
Excited. Wonderful. Yes. I also wanted to
Did I say that with the date? That it was Thursday, child? Thursday, January 18th. Yes. Anyway, keep going.
I wanted to shout out a friend of mine, an artist local to Philadelphia, Tashay. Tashay is doing a fundraising campaign to create an animated short film, which I think is just bold and fantastic in the most fantastic fantasy type of way. It's just really, really exciting. It came to her in a dream. She's a filmmaker and she was like, yo, I got to get this made. So consider supporting this young artist's vision. The story is Tell Me When You Get Home. And it is an animated short about Honest, a 15-year-old girl who over the course of an evening discovers that her late mother's spirit is calling to her from the other side. They're seeking funds to support the animation of this magical short film about a Caribbean family. So I'm going to also share a link so that you can learn more about this and hopefully just contribute a little something to the kid to make this happen. Shout out to Studio Tashay and doing scary new things and Project P for helping with this campaign.
Wonderful. All right, y'all. Well, we're not going to have heavy politics this week. Surprise, surprise. There's a lot going on, child.
In the world.
In the world, child. Here, we finna figure out if Trump can ever be a businessman in New York City in a couple of days again.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. That trial is going on. They just had their closing remarks. There's no jury. It is completely determined by the judge who he has been pissing off since day one. And it's very interesting to me because I think that if the judge already deemed that he broke the law and misled folks. But now you just have to figure out what the actual punishment is. And so we're going to see. I think if they come down hard on him and say he cannot be a business owner or conduct business in New York and that his sons can't conduct business for the next 5 years, that's what's up. that cripples the Trump like empire. You've got Trump Tower everywhere. Like he does a ton of business here.
His business can't do business here, like, or he can't be an active participant or leader in his business.
I have no clue, and that is a great question.
Because he's a businessman, then it's like, yeah, say less. I ain't touching that shit, but
I think it's
my
his
business stores ain't gonna close. I feel like that's illegal, and they won't let them do that.
I don't think that is illegal if the business was found to be.
If the business.
Yeah, I don't know. That's such a great question. Now you're making me go through the rabbit hole of all the research that I need to do. Again, I was unplugged. We'll find out. But either way, he's going to use this. If they come down on him, oh my God, his base is going to grow and going to just galvanize behind him. I'm terrified for this election year. Terrified. Because I really feel like Joe Biden is poised to lose this election. I really do in my heart of hearts. And I don't, if that happens, just understand that I will be taking a break from this podcast to like mourn and go into deep, serious therapy. Like I might need to go away. But in other news, we can't get into all this because we just don't have time, and I just haven't had the time to do all the research and break it all out. But I do want to make sure
this stuff next week too.
I do. Well, next week is going to be the conversation with Joelle. That's going to be the topic. But Claudine Gay, wow, a lot of people are calling it her exit. I consider it an ousting from Harvard, not by Harvard, but I mean, the pressure was on. Higher Learning is obviously a podcast that I listen to quite a bit. They did a great job covering this. And so I would direct you there, covering like how Bill Ackman's crusade against her, who's just a very rich hedge fund guy, very right-leaning conservative hedge fund guy. He basically just had this crusade to take her down and tweeted about it, for plagiarism. And now it's been discovered that his wife actually also plagiarized.
No way.
Oh yeah, but
I love
he's dismissing it, and no one's making a big deal out of it. And I want to, when we talk about plagiarism, it's not like Claudine Gay took someone else's writing and literally like wrote it the way Melania Trump took Michelle Obama's whole speech. She cited work incorrectly. Like, so now we're getting into these conversations around what is plagiarism, et cetera, et cetera. And with AI, with these different, like people make mistakes. So now they're using AI to kind of cross-check all of this stuff. And they're finding inconsistencies in a lot of people's work.
Yeah.
And honestly, usually what happens is the person owns it and says, oh, I made a mistake. And then they correct it. And the dissertation or whatever it is, the paper is re-released, corrected. It's never this kind of huge scandal, but due to, her...
Weren't they already really upset with her response, the way
that's what I'm saying.
She was handling?
Yeah, due to her her testimony in front of Congress. They felt like it was anti-Semitic. They weren't happy with her response on how to handle, Palestinian support on her campus.
Jewish harassment.
Yeah, so they got her ass out of here. So go over to Higher Learning to learn more of the details about that. Jackson, Mississippi. This I just am frustrated with. Beyond frustrated. I'm frustrated with the media because I'm not seeing this enough. I'm seeing it mostly on social media being shared by regular folk, but I'm not seeing this being covered in mass media. Jackson, Mississippi. I don't know what the hell's going on in Jackson, Mississippi. It's terrifying. So there's a discovery of 215 bodies, human bodies, buried in unmarked graves behind a jail outside of Jackson, Mississippi. And Jackson, Mississippi is one of the poorest cities in this country. Mississippi is one of the poorest states in this country, is mostly Black community. Families are angry they were never notified of the deaths or that their loved ones were buried in these graves, marked with like literally just a metal rod and a number. Attorney Benjamin Crump is the person who's kind of helping to uncover the answers here. He's trying to help the families as best he can. This is actually a really startling revelation based off the fact that it just came on the heels of the mother of the 37-year-old. We talked about this, the Dexter Wade, who she filed a missing persons report last March. And it wasn't until August that Miss Wade learned that her son had been hit by a police car and killed and then buried in that same cemetery. No one ever told her anything. And the interesting thing about it is that she had already sued that police department because they, I believe, shot another son of hers. So there's no way you do. And when they found his body, his wallet with his identification and his address was still on him.
A lot of the bodies have that, the same.
I'm sorry?
A lot of the bodies have
that were
IDs
found, right?
on the person, yeah.
So now you have the mayor saying, not apologizing, but acknowledging mishandling, not even wrongdoing. What? Like, we know what it is. We buried someone that we love this year. We know what that is. We know what the closure is that families need. You know, where you honor that person's life.
Well, I cannot imagine. Dead. There's so many of them. They're just missing.
That's what I'm saying. I cannot imagine you. All of a sudden, one day, I never hear from you again. I wouldn't stop looking for it. How do you function and go on about your life? This person who matters is gone, and there's just no answer. And then there's people out there who have the answers and who are just burying bodies. You cannot tell me that you consider these people and that they matter if you're doing that.
Well, first of all, how are they dying, nigga? Like,
exactly.
This is the spookiest shit that I have read or seen. It's not actually. That's the crazy part. This is actually not the scariest and spookiest news update that I've seen come up, but this is the most. Yeah.
And I want to be clear. Wild. These bodies are not bodies from 20, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago.
No.
This is 2016, they're saying. These are current missing persons.
And the prisoners, I believe it's a prison and not a jail that they're buried behind, are the ones that are digging the graves for the bodies and burying them.
Holy
the prisoners.
I didn't know that. Where did you read that?
I didn't read it. It's all a similar thing. All on social media, people are sharing the information about it. And there is we don't have it. Hope if I can remember, there is a link, a fund, not a fundraiser. That's not the right word, but there is a place where you can send donations so that you can pay lawyers to start unraveling these cases and start, working to find what the truth is. There's whole,
they're trying to charge the families to exhume the bodies.
You gotta be kidding me.
$200 a family.
So weird. Sorry, there's Philadelphia landscape in the background. You can't hear me, Mike?
I can hear him yelling. So look that up, y'all. Also, shout out to South Africa. I feel like they're trying to right the wrongs of their own history, but we'll take it. South Africa is suing Israel and suing the U.S. I wish we had Jimi Hendrix's version of the Star Spangled Banner to play behind this, because it's like so warped and haunting that
my mom
this is
plays
literally
it every
the US.
4th of July, by the way.
Are you serious? I'm obsessed with her. All right. So South Africa has gone to the International Court of Justice, charging that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. And by the time this comes out, the court will have heard the arguments from both sides and then will decide whether to issue an interim order that Israel stop its bombardment of Gaza.
Anyway, that just feels like pomp and what is it?
Pomp and circumstance. Pump.
Yeah, like come on.
I don't know.
What other evidence do you need? Like, if you're going to, no, they can't do anything. Israel,
Shanti, they can have US. You on tape killing somebody. You still got to be taken to trial.
We have all types of evidence that this is
That's what.
wrong.
So this is the trial. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, but
the fact that the judge, our Secretary of State, Lincoln, is like, nah, this no way. This is absurd. This is absurd that they're trying to sue us for this. What do you even mean?
Yeah, what the fuck you gonna do? South Africa. Mind your fucking business, dog.
That's how they feel.
We got business to do. Meanwhile, they just like here, U.S. just it's the in the New York Times it said U.S. and allies attack Yemen. Who the fuck are the allies? U.S. and Israel attack Yemen?
Oh, that's my next.
Fuck is their ally?
That's my next point here. New York Times, the U.S. and a handful of its allies, exactly, carried out military strikes on Thursday against more than a dozen targets in Yemen.
the only place standing up for Palestine at this time.
Yeah,
you gotta be. This is scary.
So this is marking an expansion of the war in the Middle East.
It's
about the Biden administration has sought to avoid. The American-led air and naval strikes came in response to more than 24. I don't know how to say. This is the militia, the Iranian militia that's working in Yemen. Houthi. They had drone missile attacks against commercial. Hello, here comes the money, capitalism. They're attacking commercial shipping in the Red Sea, and they've been doing that since November, which is why we went and parked our ship. They're not ships. What are they? I don't even know what they call, but our Navy is over there. And after warnings in the past week from the Biden administration and several international allies, it's so funny, of serious consequences, they did not stop. So the war is spreading. The war is spreading, and it's terrifying. Also, I don't have it on here. Damn. But I decided to log off on purpose. But I saw, I wrote it somewhere. It was BRICS. Basically, we got to talk about BRICS. And it's like Russia, Korea, and all of these countries that are getting together and forming basically this new, it's not new, but a stronger version of allyship to like combat the United Nations. And it's just growing exponentially. And we're facing a possible Trump presidency while we're also facing a possible World War III. And now I'm just like going down the rabbit hole of fear. So I'm going to stop. Take a breath. No good news. We don't want to be like that. I said I wasn't getting into politics this week.
This is serious. This is really serious.
Attack. Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, I watched the CNN town hall with Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis. And, people are cheering about building a wall, making sure no more migrants can come in, these illegal aliens.
Migrant crisis happening right now.
Yeah.
Y'all have you watched Children of Men yet, Antoinette?
No.
You have to watch this movie.
Is it something that will send me down a dark place, Shanti? Because I need to also, this year, I need to stay informed, but also know when
Delulu.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not lying.
Literally.
Because
I'm not joking.
Bring me down a really dark place. It's very serious.
Is scary.
but I'm recognizing how much of an emotional toll reporting on this stuff and like breaking it down and deep diving into it really has on me. Mm-hmm. But it also feels like my absolute responsibility as a human being. Tricky. Let's move on. Pop culture. Pop culture, girl. Here we go. Y'all better buckle up. Go ahead, Shanti. I'm shut up. You got it. I'll be quiet.
So, on Christmas Day, The Color Purple, the newest adaptation of The Color Purple, came out. Antoinette.
It's not an adaptation of The Color Purple.
It is. It's
an adaptation of the musical version.
It's not even an adaptation of the musical, from what this brother here is saying, because it's not.
Telling you, it's the musical. It's not the movie.
He says, unquote, "It's not the musical. It's not the book. It's an amalgamation." All right. The newest amalgamation, inspired by The Color Purple, came out on Christmas. And
what'd you think, girl?
Took me to go see it for my birthday. And I think we should just go back to the original place. Have you ever read The Color Purple, Antoinette?
I told you earlier that I never read the book. When did you read the book, Shanti?
I read the book twice in my life.
When?
I read it when I was a young girl. I can't remember. And I read it maybe like 4 years ago.
I'm going to read it.
You have to read it.
Time.
No, this is not something that
is necessary.
This is not something that you make time to do. This is something that this is something that you make time, and it enriches you and increases your life
I
by
agree.
twofold.
All right.
And it's not just like let's just read it because everybody's saying read it. The book is the foundation. It is the fertile ground. It is the Bible. It is the direct God source. Okay? It was released in 1982, and it was groundbreaking during its time because of its storytelling of gender. It deals with the lesbian relationship between Suge and Celie. It talks about the inequality and the abuse of Black women from the hands of Black men, white people, the greater society, and also each other. Many people give credit to Alice Walker around this idea of colorism and her depiction of how differently Celie was treated from her lighter sister. So this book just broke waves, and most importantly, it broke open the hearts of so many Black women because it gave language and representation to feelings and experiences that people have been holding and trying to untangle for years. So Color Purple is one of my favorite books, not only because of all those different subjects that it masterfully, simply, she's not knocking you over the head with it. Alice Walker will fuck your whole head up with just like 2 sentences, and you're like, takes your breath away. But it's really the way that it's written. It is a writing to God. It's about this woman's relationship to God, and every chapter starts with "Dear God," and then she's sharing, what's going on in her life. And it's starting from when she's a very young girl and naive and beaten down and hurt, to her writing to God as this self-realized, triumphant woman. And just that whole trajectory, and you seeing this arc of Celie and the way she talks and her relationship with God and the deepening and just her understanding of life is just like probably the part that you just have to read it. You should read it when you're 13, 23, 33, 43, 53, just over and over, because again, you're following this woman's experiences in all the different stages of womanhood. And I think at every point you take something, as at least for me, as you grow older, you take more from it. So first of all, that is the Bible. That is the groundwork, okay? Is the book. So these notions and these adaptations, amalgamations, whatever you want to call it, all string from Alice Walker's writing, which when it came out was, again, very controversial in many instances. Now it's still on the banned book list, and in some places it is banned because of the subject matter. She won the Pulitzer Prize. She was the first Black woman to win it. She won the National Book Award. It is considered a literary masterpiece. It came out in what, 82? 85 is when it became a movie, and they decided to take the book and put it on film, and they put it in the hands of the genius Steven Spielberg. In my opinion, that man knows how to say what you want, and a lot of people said a lot of shit, because apparently when it came out, it was the Black folks that were the most upset, and they, really just kind of robbed the glory of the film because of their critiques, again, around Spike Lee being one of the greatest critics, talking about that it made, what was his direct quote is in Film Comment. Spike Lee in Film Comment is states that Hollywood only greenlit the movie because the men in The Color Purple were depicted as one-dimensional. Not only does he undercut the power and the story of The Color Purple, but he also diminishes the quality of the film by the Hollywood only did that to make us look bad, to spread this propaganda around niggas not being shit. Spike, I didn't know that Spike did that, and that's really corny. I wish he would. I wonder if they have asked him most recently how he feels about it. But again, people really upset that this white man was responsible for carrying and executing this very, precious story about Black womanhood. And even the NAACP began protesting the film. The Color Purple was nominated for 11 Oscars in 1986, and it won none. And a lot of people that put their heart, blood, sweat, and tears were really pissed off about it. Think, again, this criticism being the thing that, made it such a hot pocket. Nobody really wanted to hold it or talk about it. And Whoopi Goldberg, who played Celie in the 1984 film, said that I was really pissed off. I was like, well, why didn't you make the movie? Referring to John, I don't know, what is it, John Singleton that was also talking shit, and Spike Lee. So again, lots of controversy around this movie. I saw it when I was a young girl. Again, similar to the book, I would see it in different phases of my life. I made the mistake of watching it days before I went to go see this newest amalgamation. If you have not seen the Color Purple movie, Antoinette, you just recently saw it, or have you still not seen the Color Purple? Have you ever? Do you know what the Color Purple's about?
We did a whole show, a whole episode on the Color Purple, and when I watched it, and the shit you gave me. So yes.
What did you think about it?
I thought it was a masterpiece. I thought it was brilliant. The Spike Lee comment of the men being one-dimensional, here I go, my bullshit. The men being one-dimensional, I can see a man feeling that way. I could see it. And I could see in the climate of this white Steven Spielberg is telling this story, where we're depicted a certain way. Okay, fine. But I didn't think that they were one-dimensional. I saw pain in Danny Glover, who was, I think, incredible in it. the movie and the musical are so far apart. It's not even funny. But the movie is, I think, a masterpiece. And I think I'm a huge fan of Whoopi Goldberg. She's tricky, but
she's tricky.
Her as she could be tricky now with some of the shit she says. She's not African American, she's American, shit like that. But like her as Celie, oh, come on. It's like Oprah was incredible.
The casting was phenomenal.
Casting was phenomenal.
The set design. I'm the most impressed
the house.
With that fucking house.
yeah, it's a character. You said it best. It's a character. You said that to me on the phone. The house was its own
thing. The shadow work that he did, the angles, the slight, the scene where he's getting dressed. He's really excited to see Suge, and he's getting dressed, and she knows him like the back. He cares. He doesn't give a shit about her, but she knows him like the back of her hand. They're like intertwined family. Every time he turns around, Celie got what he wants, finds the right tie, the shoes. The way that they did that dance with each other was just, it was a masterpiece. I can't get over that movie. And I can't believe that Spike Lee and all those people, yes, maybe it was distasteful, but I think it couldn't have been in better hands during that time. I don't know, because I would love to see a Spike Lee's version of The Color Purple. That would actually be lit.
He wouldn't do it. He doesn't understand it. It's evident in what he said about.
Say that again. I know that's motherfucking
he doesn't
right.
I'm serious. You can't.
For real.
You can't direct a film that you judge like. You can't judge it in that way and dismiss it. It's like the same way you can't, if you're an actor, you can't judge your character. You have to just be the character and tell the story. That's not a story he wanted to tell.
It was, a lot of people were also upset or felt like the relationship between Suge and Celie was robbed in the movie because
Which movie?
In the
original?
The original movie, because the relationship between the sexual relationship between Celie and Suge was just in a kiss, which I also felt was like, I felt like he was fine. I felt like it was good. I feel like the way that Celie and Suge looked at each other, and you could see that Celie was obsessed with Suge, and Suge had mad love for Celie as well. So I feel like even though there was not a huge sexual scene, there was
think it was needed.
I think it was so good the way that he did it. But a lot of people,
I actually think that undercuts it, especially then, because that would have turned into the pornography.
It would have turned it. So listen, I can't get it's just a masterpiece. The book is the best, and then they did right by that book. I believe it's a lot of Black women's favorite movie. So then, from that they've done a musical adaptation on Broadway, which I've never seen. Antoinette, you've seen it. You can speak to it.
It's the movie. It's what we saw, basically. It's so, I don't understand how they're not saying it's not an adaptation of the musical. It's basically that. And it skims the surface. It's more about the music than the actual story, absolutely, and the production. You don't leave the musical feeling the same way when you turn off the film, or I'm sure close the book. Like,
which I think is not a good job.
So touched.
Which I don't think is a good job. You did not do a good job.
It's very hard to incorporate song and dance and everything else. Like, it's hard to do. Not everything should be a musical. I think it's crazy because I went to school for musical theater and used to do it. And it's like, adaptations of movies into musicals, to me, probably don't work. You just got to write a musical. Like Ragtime works because the music pushes the story forward. That's one of those things. It works.
Well,
the music doesn't deepen the story for me.
I did some research on the intent of the folks that wrote the music for, or the screenplay for the musical, and their intent was not to focus on the suffering that Celie felt, but her joy, this other part of her, showing more the arc of her triumph versus, her abuse and all that she had to endure. So the
You don't
music
fully
is
understand
written
joy until
to.
you've experienced pain.
Well,
Fully experienced it. You need the yin and the yang.
that's what their intent was with this musical. So 2023, newest film adaptation. It's produced by Oprah, Quincy Jones. The same, I think Quincy Jones produced the original. He's back on the scene. Oprah, in her different role, is funding this as well. It's directed by the same director of Blitz Bazawule. I'm definitely not saying his name correctly. Whenever anybody ever refers to him, they just say Blitz. So I apologize for probably butchering this fine brother's last name, but I don't know much of his work. I did see Black and King. That is great. But all of the film people that I know really, really respect his work and say that he does an incredible job. And it was adapted for the screen by poet and playwright Marcus Gardley. And it is a musical. And they are saying, listen, this is not Gardley, who wrote the screenplay, said this is not the Color Purple movie. It's not the musical. It's not the book. It's an amalgamation of all those things, and yet entirely its own thing. Yes, it was. The mandate going into this project is that everybody felt like it needed to be Color Purple 2.0. So audiences who loved all the iterations that came before could have a very nostalgic experience. But we also wanted to make something for a new audience and a younger generation. And so their intent was less, again, focus on Celie's trauma and the abuse that she suffered, but looking into her joy and the steps that she took towards her empowerment. And they wanted to bring to life the imagination of Celie. And so all of these scenes, if you see the movie where it gets really fantastic and they're singing on a record, is supposed to be a glimpse into Celie's imagination. And so,
girl, if you don't get to your opinion on this,
I thought it was terrible. I think it's important that people understand the whole thread through, because people like myself, I think, assume, wanted it to be like The Color Purple. The Color Purple was impactful. It hits you straight in your heart. The book and the most recent movie. This, I never think about. I walked out of that movie and did not think about it ever again, only to remark at what a waste of my time that was and how much I did not like that. I did not like it at all. And
was there anything that you liked about it?
No, there was nothing about the movie.
No one's performance, nothing. Not a
I thought
scene.
Taraji did good. I think the Suge Avery that she portrayed, everybody was flat. Suge was over the top, but still flat. They were all flat, boring characters, oversimplified. The story was oversimplified. It became this story about her getting her kids back, and that's just like the cherry on top. That ain't even what the whole book is about, dog. Like, that's cool, but the house was dark. I hated the fucking house. It was so dark and drab. I did not like Mr. He did not.
Oh.
He was mean for no reason, and his meanness wasn't even good enough. Like, just like you said, to be really mean is you have to have some hurt. You have to be deeply insecure in some kind of way. You have to be like weak in a way. And he was just like, you ain't read that from him.
So none of this you didn't feel it was anchored in anything? Like,
no,
the motivation for any of these characters was not clear, right?
It was
performative. They were showing us who they are instead of being it.
Yeah, and they didn't even do the casting was ridiculous.
Sierra was the
Why
thing that
was
upset
Sierra?
me the
When
most. I was waiting for you to get to Sierra.
All we did was saw they have a moment where they flashed that photo, and me and Antoinette looked at each other, and I said, "I know." I said, "Is that Sierra?"
I was like, "Oh," I said, "I know Shanti hates this, but I know she about to be furious." I don't know how I felt
when
about it.
Sierra walked
I'll be
out,
honest. I don't know how I felt about it because honestly, watching it with you, I was so preoccupied with. I felt your energy. I felt how angry you were. I felt you like this is a terrible birthday. I just knew it, and I was so. And then we had people in the theater that were screaming at the screen.
That was the best part of theater, seeing it.
We had a gentleman in the theater who wasn't quite well and just was screaming, "You is ugly" at the screen, screaming it. Every time Sophia came on, he was like, "That's my bitch." Like, it was just strange.
He said, "Sophia, grandma."
No, he said, "Celia, grandma."
Celia, grandma. Unwell.
No,
terrible.
It didn't. It's not something that I'm gonna watch again. I don't think. One, I really hated the way they shot Fantasia's big "I Am Here." I love that song. Now, if you gonna tell me to put that soundtrack on, I'm gonna listen to that soundtrack all day. But I didn't need it. I'll be honest. We didn't need it. And I love, what's his name? Coleman, whatever. I love him. I root for him. I don't, but here's the difference for me. I think that the actors did what they could with what they were given for the most part, if I'm being honest. That's kind of how I feel. I don't know if the direction was the best. I don't know if the script is the best. I just don't know. But I don't think, I'm not embarrassed by it. I just didn't need it in comparison. And I did, the one thing that I loved was seeing Whoopi in it and being the kind of doula for Celie. I thought that was such a beautiful moment. And I actually thought that the young woman that played Celie, I don't know her name, the young version of Celie was good. She's like the person who we don't know. She's not a celebrity. She's not a musician. She was just probably most likely a theater woman who was just excellent. I thought she was excellent. And I thought that Danielle did very well once her shift happened and she was at that table. And I thought she was good. I thought she did well. In the beginning, I was a little like, all right, they're telling her to be a caricature of Sophia, but that's also, I expected that because that's what the musical did. But when Sierra came out there, I said, all right, now, enough. Who made that decision? Who made that decision?
And who watched that?
Black Twitter knew. They went off. They said everybody in the theater, is that Sierra? I will say I love to see all the musicians that were in it that I know. I got an ex-boyfriend in it. I got the dude who? Her? What was wrong with her?
Why was she in that movie?
Because baby, this is the larger conversation. Why is it that the films with black casts require this type of casting in order to get greenlit from these studios? You need her, Sierra, Fantasia, Danielle Brooks. Like, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I think
just cast the best person
and make
for the fucking
best fucking art.
But they don't feel like they can because they have to sell it. Taraji, I love Taraji.
Was the fourth highest growing movie. Like, it wasn't like The Color Purple was some random like deep cut somewhere. It was the highest grossing movie when it came out.
And they still had, you have to recognize this though, Shanti, they still had huge heavy hitters in that film. They still had Oprah. They still had Danny Glover. They still had Whoopi Goldberg. So you got to realize these aren't stars that are, again, I don't want to talk about the artistry as much. I really want to talk about why this is occurring. And while we can, I don't ever think that we shouldn't or can't give constructive criticism to Black art, I do still think we should support it. If it came out again, I would buy a ticket, and I probably wouldn't go, because I want to see us getting these films made. If we don't support it, then we're always going to require Sierra in it, or Beyonce, or whoever the fuck, instead of the folks who can probably tell the story the best way. And it's sad, but I'm telling you, this is exactly why on Broadway you see Nene Leakes in Cinderella. They have to sell tickets. It's a business. It's not art. It's a business at the end of the day. Well, and it's messed up. It's messed up.
It's devoid. It's not.
Yes, I agree.
So I don't know that. I don't know if that makes sense. In order for them to make.
Well, if you don't go support it, then you've proven the point that even with these stars, even with these people still don't come out.
The source of the story is from the source of the book was from an unknown writer. And I don't know that Danny Glover and all of them were at the prime of their
I didn't say they were at the prime.
Their careers for it to come out. I think that it is. I think that it does. Yeah, I think the following that formula or not having the integrity. I don't know if integrity is the word. Having the faith and the will and the risk to be like, I don't care. This story is important and it can be executed in the best way possible, whether it's a music,
Shanti, they don't control that. You realize that? There's studios that control that. I don't want to go back and forth on this.
There's Black art that is fantastic that's being made. Again, I just mentioned a friend that's going to make something, hopefully, from her own will and desire and efforts and funding. But
you realize that's Black not on the same scale.
Made.
Come on.
Nonetheless, if I were Oprah Winfrey, if I were Quincy Jones, I would rather have it, because that's a flop. They made money, but that is a flop. That did a disservice. I think that people should resist, and I hear what you're saying, but you don't have to go along to get along, or we have to do this thing, we have to have Sierra. It completely took the I don't even know what Alice Walker thinks.
I think it's really dismissive to say go along to get along. I don't think that either one of us fully understand all that it takes to get a movie done, and just what a small world that world actually is. There are gatekeepers in that world, and for Oprah she talks about how hard it was to get the original done. All the things, all the hoops she had to jump over and through. And so I'm just saying, I don't disagree with you around the art, but this whole, the whole, we're not even just talking about film right now. All art is a business, and that's where it gets muddy, and there are gatekeepers in this business, and then people, I don't know. I don't feel like people are going along necessarily to get along. I think there's a lot of hard work being done behind the scenes. And I'm going to give credit and credence to the folks who are actually trying. And, hopefully
I'm not taking it away
making more. I'm not saying you are. I'm saying what I'm doing. Hopefully making more space for more films like a Moonlight or things like that to be created. But right now, it's a very difficult game. I mean, I have a friend who talks about just how hard it is to get a movie made, and
absolutely
how it almost drove them crazy.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to shit on it either, but I didn't necessarily need it. You're right. Ciao. It's late, but moving right along, because we can't not talk about this stuff. Katt Williams kicked the year off. He was on
that motherfucking door down.
Listen, all right. First of all, everybody knows Katt Williams was on Club Shay Shay.
Why did they?
He ain't had nothing to promote.
The fact that man's
what?
Name of his show is Club Shay. I thought that was like a collective joke, but when he really came on,
you don't get it because you don't watch the sports commentary. It was. So it was a joke, and he took it and was like, "Got you." Everybody calling me that. Cool, Club Shay Shay
is amazing to me.
And usually when sports, you come to Club Shay Shay, and anyway, I can't go all through it, but he can't win on Club Shay Shay. We can say we won about Club Shay Shay. I think he got like 2 million subscribers at this point. He killing it.
Oh, listen.
Katt didn't have nothing to promote. He went on there and said, "Oh no, I'm finna set the record straight. And I'm finna tell the truth and shame the devil." Now, truth is interesting here. Truth is, it's kind of like beauty. It's in the eye of the beholder, apparently. Did Katt stretch a little bit? I don't know if he was reading 3,000 books a year. There's only 365 days in a year, my guy. But you know what?
It might have been small books, though. He might have been reading the same books over and over.
Could have been The Cat in the Hat. Could have been shit like that.
He was 7, or he was little. How old was he? How was he?
He said he was. I think I don't know. He was accepted to college at 12
13
or something. I don't even know.
A brilliant genius is what he was trying to say. I am intelligent.
There's a lot of receipts backing up the fact that he was ahead of his IQ. Apparently, he took like an IQ test, and he's like the highest score you can get. Like, he's like one of these little mad scientist geniuses in the corner. So I don't know. Anything's possible. I just watched a 7-year-old, like, literally this white boy on. This didn't discover him. He's got 2 million followers on the Instagrams. What is this kid's name? He's Miles Music Kid. He's a whole musician and engineer and does music.
Yeah. He makes beats, right? And plays a guitar.
Yes, plays mad instruments, has perfect pitch, tells you like tritones and stuff. It's incredible. So maybe that's Katt. Maybe we're dismissing Katt because Katt's funny. I don't know. All I know is some of this shit checked out, and we don't have to go all into it. I don't agree that Shannon Sharpe is an awful interviewer. I see that you wrote that there. I've watched his other interviews, and he's actually quite good, in my opinion, at times. I think that he was in a very awkward position because Katt is going, and he's like, I don't want to be reckless with him and not cut him off, but I also don't want to cut him off because I want him to be able to speak his truth. But also I know these people. So there were times when he would just move right along because he's like, I'm not going to fuel this flame. And I actually respected that a little bit more than most people.
There was wonderful gems that he didn't pick up on, but not even like not even just the gossipy stuff, but just
and I think Shannon Sharpe is a tight end, probably second best tight end ever in the history of tight ends, which is a football player. So the fact that he's transitioned and is doing this work, he's getting better all the time. He's had some really great interviews.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm sorry.
No. I'm just saying. But listen, the energy that Katt Williams had is kind of like the Delulu and I don't give a fuck truth-telling energy that I'm really seeking to embrace. I think if you remember, I think I said I want to, for 2024, stop being so good that I'm no longer honest. And this is the embodiment of that, in my opinion. Katt was like, this is my truth. There was something that was so refreshing about it. It was refreshing to me. It was defiant against this machine, against this thing. And maybe the thing is not real. I don't know. Maybe nothing is all the way right. But I appreciated that. I really did. What did you think?
Similarly, I felt that same way. I feel like it was really refreshing for him to, and I think it's happening all throughout pop culture right now, but be like, you think this nigga is the best? You think this nigga got his shit together? Just kind of revealing the underbelly of the culture, which, from what he says, is not all from like this great, hardworking, honest success ladder that these niggas had to possibly betray themselves. They were betraying one another. It's a very cutthroat. I did not know that the comedic world was that cutthroat.
Oh God.
Had no idea. And yeah, he was a truth. Well, we don't know what the truth is, but a lot of his shit, people pulled out the receipts and that shit tracks.
It's checking.
His references to, even the Harvey Weinstein, Diddy, all of these ways that the Lucy, like that's what Kendrick calls it. Like, oh, you want to be successful, then you have to betray yourself in some kind of way. And the fact that he supported that was like, wow, it kind of takes the allure, or it takes it was dark. It was actually really dark.
It was dark.
And I respected the integrity that I think he was trying to show that he had. And his love for comedy and the art form really spoke in that interview. And he's just an interesting being. He's just
also his life, to leave home, to find your way in Florida, to then start selling shit door to door. Like, how, B? Then to start, and the way he talks about stuff, he talks about it in a way where he takes a beat. Because he's intentional with what he's saying. He's not reckless. Like, he takes his beat. Even when Shannon was asking him about the madams, and he was like, so, and he doesn't want to get himself in trouble. He's smart, but he's like, these women, their pimp died, and I looked out for him. Yes. What a story! It was interesting. Some of his girlfriends are resurfacing, some of which are like kind of Instagram famous or whatever, and they have glowing things to say about him. They miss him. They felt protected by him.
Oh, I imagine that nigga don't play. That nigga don't play.
Like, that's my guy. Like, yeah, and their eyes light up. Like, when you can tell they're recalling moments with him. I'll send you some of it if I could find it again.
It was also interesting how he dismissed the accusations of drug use as a way to discredit him and call him crazy, which is reminiscent of Dave Chappelle. And I felt which then makes the rabbit hole, it takes you further down the rabbit hole. And I'm just like,
I mean, Chappelle talks about the Lucy in Hollywood, but he doesn't go into detail. You just know it exists. Hollywood's a weird place, man. Hollywood's a weird place, man. They'll try to kill you if you let them. That's why I'm on my fuck you farm. Like he doesn't do what Katt did, which I think is really brave.
Yeah, it makes you think about all the people that are so quote unquote successful. What? Y'all all right? Everything okay? What's happening? What's going on? I wanted to share some of the best quotes. My favorite.
We shared them on IG, child. That shit was viral.
My favorite thing is Michael Jackson called him Christmas. You ever met a man that gave you a nickname like that? Talking about Chris Tucker. Yo, that I screamed.
No, his delivery is not. His delivery is incredible. You can't not laugh.
To be confident and not delusional is a real skill.
That
child. And yeah.
Run him down, Sam.
You gotta tell Diddy no. Then he got his high tap fade, making all black men think he got the best lineup in the business. And it's a man unit. Talking about Steve. Damn, Steve Harvey ain't come out and said nothing. The truth don't need motivation. We found out he can't sing, dance, or write jokes. Talking about Cedric the Entertainer. I'm one of the richest men that ever lived. Please don't look at my net worth. I don't know. Never mind. That's not a good one. I don't know what that means.
No, he was saying, I think what he said, well, one, it was a double entendre. He's like, don't look at my net worth. And then he followed up with like, I saw my net worth and I had that on me at the time.
Oh,
but
okay,
also he was saying, I'm rich in other ways, baby. Like,
yeah. Winners are not allowed to allow losers to rewrite history.
mm-hmm.
You're a fat phase-on liar. I just love that one. And of course, everybody's saying that you having an unnatural allegiance to losers is not like you.
I got some. If you wanted me to speak more highly of you, then perhaps you should have treated me better.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it. I got accepted into college at the age of 7.
That's right.
And then Satan can't create anything. This was my favorite, including blessings for his people. I was like, oh my God. Say less. And every single other video that's coming out is everybody talking about how Katt has blessed them with some money and he has never asked them for anything back. Clint told me that he opened for Katt once and he was getting paid X amount of dollars and Katt gave him thousands of dollars more and said, here we go, we're going to even it out to give you this. Good job. Keep going, young man. And just disappeared.
Well, Katt's value has quadrupled. If he's coming to Philly, I'm going. I want to see his show. I hope that he maintains his integrity and the control over his destiny the way that it seems like he's fought tooth and nail and endured a lot of betrayal and hurt to do so. So shout out to him. And
he needs to write. I don't know if he has a memoir, but he needs to write one.
He should. That'd be wonderful. I love these examples of doing things differently, and these different examples of quote unquote success. I think it's really important that we all see it. I am worried about his health though. I don't know if he looks well.
When he told
but at the same time, niggas that be looking well are rotting from the inside out. So I love the way everything is not what it seems. I love this time. That's amazing. Him coming at Kevin Hart though, I was like, I knew something ain't right with Kevin. I love Philly, but I know he's funny. But when Kevin did a documentary, I was like,
tricky.
Kid's okay.
All right, we gotta move on. Jonathan Majors. Oh, you knew it was coming. You go ahead. I don't even know where to start with this. I'm gonna come in on the outskirts. Go ahead.
Well,
take this.
He did a recent interview with who exactly was the company that he did it with? ABC News. It was his first
owned
interview
by Disney.
Since which is shout out to Disney's like, fuck you, and we making some more money off of you still. Come on my platform. That's wild. He went to defend himself. It was not a very juicy interview. It was very flat. But he goes and continues to maintain his innocence. He does his best to be accountable for getting himself in that situation, and the consequence, the severity of it all. He looked very handsome. He did his best to be dignified. The interviewer then asked the question about his Coretta Scott King comments that he addressed to his then white girlfriend. And he basically tried to clean it up and say, listen, I'm just trying to make sacrifices. I'm trying to be a great man like Martin and Obama. And I just need a lady that compliments me. And I guess everybody's still mad about I don't quite understand everybody's being upset. Or rather, it doesn't have me like thinking anything.
You watched the full interview?
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, so people are upset that he is. I think, of course, it's ridiculous that he would ask his. Not only that's because she's white, but I think it's a ridiculous comparison and a very inflated sense of himself. But I do.
You ain't see Ant-Man and the Wasp, girl? He Martin for us. You ain't know?
I do think that what he was trying to say is, listen, I'm trying to be a good man. I'm trying to be a good representation to my race. I don't need a woman acting a goddamn fool, making me look bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that means that I think people are saying, oh, that means she's just a prop. I didn't necessarily read into that and I think that, but my conditioning may be conditioned. So
can I jump in?
Everybody's upset. Of course.
I initially tried to see it from that lens. I remember talking about this and being like, I think that's what he's trying to say, y'all. Something about this interview, though. I was like, when they looked at Megan Good or asked about Megan Good, and he was like, yeah, she's my Coretta. And
I didn't watch the whole interview.
You didn't watch? I know you didn't watch the whole thing.
For real, he said that?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You only saw a snippet. I knew you only saw a snippet. The interview the full interview is like 15 minutes.
Oh.
Okay. Because I'm sitting here like, I'm shocked that you're saying this. Yeah. There's like a part 2. I gotta find it for you. It's like 12 or 15 minutes, something like that all together.
Got time for that. But
you ain't missing nothing. It's The Color Purple-ish. But listen, I tried to see it. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. One of my friends, I'm not going to say what they say. I'm going to tell you what they say after this because it's wild. But, I thought he was trying to say he needs to be in partnership with someone who understands how to manage the limelight, maneuver in the public spotlight, like all those things. But now I really feel like he's mistaken, or I was mistaken rather. And so is he. I think that inflated ego is definitely on the table here. It's like
Delulu. We're all delusional.
We're all a little bit. What I got from the interview was it felt disingenuous. It felt like a really bad idea. It felt like
such a bad idea. Like, it bro, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it felt like your team doesn't care about you. It felt like didn't need it. Jonathan is a better actor than this. And honestly, my conditioning is conditioned, but I walked away thinking he hit that girl after that interview. And I have not said that.
Really?
I walked away like, I don't trust you. I don't trust anything that you have to say right now. And that is so deeply disappointing because of how much I was rooting for you. And that doesn't mean that I wish you harm. I wish you cancellation. I wish you help. To me, I watched him and thought, you need to sit down and be quiet for some time. You need to take a beat. You probably need to not be in a relationship. You probably need to be by yourself and work some stuff out. Because just a couple years ago, you're saying that you were having or a year ago, you're saying you were having suicidal ideations. You went through a very tumultuous breakup, and now you're all of a sudden with this new woman who's X amount years your senior, which is fine. But I hope that you're not looking at her to solve your problems and to manage your issues. Because is that what you think Coretta did? It's very interesting. I don't think that he knows who Coretta Scott King is. And the more and more I talk to people, I realize how little people know about that woman.
I don't know much about Coretta at all. I wasn't taught nothing about Coretta.
Great. I'm so happy to get into this. Shout out to Children's Defense Fund that made us learn all this shit. Shout out to Philadelphia Freedom Schools because this is so important. I think that also him equating, Coretta to this ride. It seems like he is equating Coretta to this ride or die chick who's responsible for him, who's going to hold him down, who's going to make him look good. And it does feel proppish to me. I would have loved to hear, Megan has been an incredible support. Megan has been someone who inspires me, who holds me accountable. Megan is wise beyond her years. Like, go into who she is, not who she is to you. Like, it's just, that slight variation is important. And there's also this idea of this notion that in order to be a good woman, you must suffer first. You must suffer for your man and stay. And somehow that's a good woman. And it's like, I'm rejecting that. And again, I hit the mic, it could be my stuff. Also, this erasure of Coretta's legacy and life outside of her husband is so problematic to me. And I'm going to call her Coretta. I'm not going to call her Coretta Scott King right now because I want to remove the King aspect and give this woman her due. Okay? So let's go. I'm about to get on my motherfucking soapbox. So Coretta was raised on a farm in Perry County, Alabama. At a young age, she was exposed to a ton of injustices. Her fucking house was burned down. Her father, after her house burned down, instead of being angry, told her to rely on her faith and forgive the people who did it because they know not what they do. Sounds like exactly what apparently Jesus said when he died on the cross. So here's this introduction to nonviolence already, right? She was an incredible student. And not only that, she had to walk 5 miles to school every single day and was the valedictorian of her graduating class. She also was an amazing singer and violinist.
Really?
She's an opera singer.
What?
Yes. She received her BA in music in Ohio, and then went on to study concert singing at Boston's New England Conservatory of Music, where she met Kang, where she met her husband in Boston, this reverend. And when they got together, even before that, in undergraduate, she was already an activist. She joined a chapter of the NAACP and the college race relations and civil liberties committees. And then when she got with Martin, she joined the movement and she conceived and performed a series of critically acclaimed freedom concerts that combined poetry, narration, and music to tell the story of the civil rights movement, which funded a lot of King's work. So her concert, because you got to realize he ain't making no fucking money. He's out here freedom fighting.
You said here.
He wasn't no crowdfunding. Ain't no GoFundMe. This lady came up with this idea on, okay, this is how we can get this done. Then, yes. And so what she's funding right now is SCLC, which is not only her husband's organization. Okay, she co-founded that organization with him, to be very clear. Also, when she married Martin, she wasn't for the bullshit. She took obey out of her vows, baby. This is back in the day where she was like, no, take that out. To me, that stands out to me so much because I've been at weddings where to date, women are still saying, and to obey thy husband. And I'm like, cringe. Okay. Then she took part in countless rallies, protests, marches, both here and in the US. Both here and overseas. She became the first woman to deliver the Class Day address at Harvard and the first woman to preach a service at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Do you know what St. Paul's Cathedral is?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, you need to look. It's a very big deal in London. It's huge. You like my explanation?
It's very big. It's very
big. She served as a woman's strike. She served as a woman's strike for peace protest delegate. And she also, I don't even know how to pronounce this. The disarmament conference in Geneva, Switzerland. She was very much against guns. And she became a liaison to the International Peace and Justice Organization even before her husband was. And she was the reason why he took a very public stand against the Vietnam War and nuclear weapons. That was her. She was always opposed to that. All this while raising 4 children and managing constant threats and surveillance to her family. I'm sorry if it feels like I'm reading this, but I wanted to organize my thoughts when I was getting this together. Days after her husband's assassination, she took her children and marched in her husband's place back to the city where he was killed in Memphis to march in support for sanitation workers' rights. This is days after he was gunned down. She then spearheaded the building of the Martin Luther King Jr. Center for Nonviolent Social Change as a living memorial to her husband's life and his dream. She formed the Full Employment Action Council and broad coalition of over 100 religions, labor, business, civil and women's rights organizations dedicated to a national policy of full employment and equal economic opportunity. She was also the co-chair of the council for that organization. She then goes on to establish Dr. King's birthday, January 15th, as a national holiday in the United States. So the day this episode comes out, this is because of Coretta. And now this holiday is observed in over 100 countries. She also was a fierce supporter of LGBTQ rights. And this was in a movement that did not play that shit and devoted much of her energy to AIDS education and curbing gun violence. She has 60 honorary doctorates. 60, not 6, 60, and helped found dozens of organizations, including the Black Leadership Forum and the Black Leadership Roundtable. So you tell me if Megan Good is your Coretta. Don't play on this woman's name. Lead us, and that's not a slight to Megan Good, but this should give you an idea of, you don't know who Coretta is. Just say the woman is a good woman. You know, just say she is an amazing partner. She is someone who does not judge me. She's someone who helps me see myself. She is someone who feels like an anchor. She's a rock. I love her. This Coretta fascination, shut up. And you ain't King.
It's just him.
John.
It's just the idea, this idealistic idea of what a couple is in the first place. You know what I mean? Or like in terms of, especially if it's a man representing, I'm a good man. What do you say? I'm a great man.
I'm a great man.
I'm a good man. I'm doing this for my race. So
I get it. And maybe I'm tripping.
No, I'm just saying that it's already this simplified paper mache ideal of what a good man deserves. You're going to have this, fine woman that's right next to you, that compliments you, that, just like you're saying, does not have nuance, does not have any significance beyond just being.
Doesn't have any agency or identity. Like this, Coretta was a force. And that's exactly what her child went on Twitter and said. Don't get it twisted. My mama was doing this work before she ever met my father and long after him. She was a force. So it's just weird. And he needs therapy. I said it. He needs to sit down and be quiet. He really does. I'm worried. And I'm worried for Megan. You don't think
he was just doing like the couple's goals that we all do?
I don't.
Martin and Coretta?
No, I think you need to watch it. You need to hear him say it. And you need to.
I know the nigga ain't well. I know
and
he
then
not
he
well.
started rubbing his eye, acting like he was going to cry. You should hear what Black has to say about this shit.
Well, because of Megan Good?
No, he just in the interview about all that he's endured, and then started talking about the injuries. And I'm not saying that men cannot have injuries, but it just felt. It didn't feel like he just played the victim. He just played the victim, and it didn't feel like any accountability outside of. He did say, I should have been more courageous to leave. I should have been more honest about that. I shouldn't have been in the car. It's like, I don't know. I don't have the words. I don't have the words for it, but there's something doesn't feel right. And maybe it was too soon. I don't know, but like, and I think he'll work again. Shut up. I hope he works again. I do. But I hope mostly that he hears what folks are saying. Because even now, he still came out and tried to explain what he meant by the Coretta thing. And I thought I put that on here. his quote, but I guess I didn't.
What did he
say? He had a quote from TMZ where he tried to further explain what he was trying to say. But if that's the thing, if you have to keep explaining yourself, your message is not getting across. Be quiet. Be quiet and listen and sit with yourself a little bit, bro.
Who would have thought? Oh my God, what a wild turn Jonathan
Right.
Majors
Go listen to the episodes from this time last year to now. Now I'm like, shut up, be quiet, and just take a beat. You just went through a lot.
Head, nigga.
Take
be
a
quiet.
Beat. He went through a lot. Take a beat. It's okay. Child, I would have loved to hear what Katt Williams. Never mind. He did say it.
He said terrible things about John that I don't necessarily agree with.
No, that was awful at the end. Hilarious, but awful. And also, we would be remiss if he did say something about Gaza, and I didn't hear it the first time, and somebody brought it to our attention.
It was insensitive. It was insensitive. It was very insensitive.
The joke didn't land, and that wasn't cool. Look at this thumbs up. This shit is doing this on Riverside now.
I don't even think he was joking. I think it was just a real insensitive reference that he made.
Well, tricky. Listen, no one's always right, and neither are we. So we're gonna end this episode.
And everybody's delusional. And if you think you're not, then you're proving us right.
Delulu.
It's all being revealed.
What's the name of this episode? It's either The Color Purple-ish or I don't know. We gotta name Katt Williams, Jonathan, and Coretta. So maybe it's Delulu. Delulu, and then The Color Purple, Katt Williams, Jonathan Majors, and Coretta. Y'all lost your goddamn minds. But anyway, I hope people go and research more about Coretta Scott King, because
they ain't teach us that in school. I had public school training, child.
They didn't teach me that in school. That's why I'm saying I'm so grateful. Shout out to Freedom School. Shout out to the Children's Defense Fund. Shout out to Marion Wright Edelman. Shout out to Dr. Gregory Carr. Shout out to Kelly Sparrow. Shout out to Dr. Aisha Imani. Shout out to Yaba
I gotta go to get Joe to go to that.
I don't even know if they still do it. You got research.
Damn.
Ask them. I mean, it's all about funding. I hope they do. Ask Amanda. It's all in that group. It's all in the same COFA group. Anyway, we gotta go. I'm sweating. All right. Goodbye. I love you.
Bye.